Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a really fascinating framework developed by astrologer. It's a system focused entirely on predicting and navigating life's sudden challenges. We're going to break down his unique perspective, which basically blends the natural rhythms of the universe with our own personal destinies. We'll look at the specific warning signs he says point to impending hardship, and we'll also explore the very actionable spiritual remedies he prescribes to clear those roadblocks. My goal today is to just impartially guide you through his insights, laying out the exact architecture of his methodology so you can see exactly how it works.
I mean, it's an intriguing thought, right? We all check our phones every single morning to see if we're going to need an umbrella. But can we forecast our personal weather, just like a meteorologist tracks a thunderstorm? This is actually the core analogy that Zinjani builds his entire framework upon. He proposes that just as we've learned to read the skies to predict physical weather, there are subtle, totally identifiable indicators that can help us predict the energetic and situational weather of our everyday lives.
Section 1. The Weather of Our Lives, Mapping the Sectors of Destiny.
So let's unpack this foundational idea. It's out something pretty profound. The universe is literally filled with signs, for those willing to look. I mean, rain, clouds, and storms existed for millennia before we ever had the tools to track them. Back then, humans had no clue exactly when or where the rain would fall. But through research, we developed meteorology. Today, we know exactly what time it's going to rain in which city and precisely when it'll stop. Well, has this exact same logic to human destiny. He suggests that our destiny is basically divided into different sectors. Think wealth, relationships, health, our overarching successes. And if we can pinpoint which specific sector of our life is getting rain, meaning abundance or intense activity, and which one is in a total drought, we can completely change how we navigate our path.
Moving on to Section 2, Recognizing the Coming Storm, Symptoms of Distress in Your Life.
Now, just like you see dark clouds rolling in before a downpour, personal hardships, they rarely just drop out of a clear blue sky. There are early warning signs. It's a really striking observation here. He says, forget about whether other people want to talk to you. If your own heart suddenly just doesn't want to converse with anyone, that is a massive red flag. He actually calls this sudden urge to just isolate yourself the absolute biggest proof that trouble is brewing on the horizon. It's a super interesting psychological indicator placed right at the very center of his predictive model.
But it's not just isolation. He outlines a few other really specific warning signs that a storm is about to hit, and honestly, they tend to escalate. First up, a sudden, noticeable drop in your income. Next, you might feel this deep restlessness, like your heart is just totally unsettled and you literally cannot find peace. Then, you might find yourself getting hypersensitive to really trivial things. Taking offense to stuff you'd normally just brush right off. And finally, getting stuck in this loop of severe overthinking, basically chasing illusions in your head without actually taking any real physical action. These are the dark clouds gathering in Zinjani's framework.
Which brings us to Section 3, Signs of Clear Skies, Indicators of Relief and Peace. Because to really understand this weather, we also have to know what it feels like when the storm is finally breaking and things are clearing up. When that happens, the signs of good weather are essentially a total 180 from what we just talked about. The very first indicator, your heart actually returns to a baseline state of peace and calm. You'll also likely find yourself naturally reconnecting with God, leaning back into your spirituality. Socially, you actually want to be around people again purely out of a sense of humanity, engaging in genuinely positive conversations. And perhaps the most crucial shift, you get your hope back. You get this deep, comforting realization that even if things are broken right now, they will get better. The anxiety is basically replaced by this steady, quiet optimism.
And that leads us to Section 4, a spiritual remedy, the Wazifa for averting the storm.
So, the big question, what do you actually do if you're reading these signs and realize a massive storm is bearing down on you? Well, to help navigate these roadblocks, Zib's a very specific, actionable spiritual solution, an Islamic prayer practice known as a Wazifa, and it invokes two specific names of God, Ya Hafizu, which means the protector, and Ya Bari'u, the healer. The structure here is super precise. Step 1, you recite Darood exactly 14 times. Step 2 is really the core of it. You recite Ya Hafizu and Ya Bari'u exactly 300 times. And this has to be done alongside the Zuhr prayer, which is the early afternoon prayer. Finally, step 3, you close it all out by reciting Darood another 14 times. He lays this out as the exact mechanism to physically shift the weather in your favor.
And actually, timing is a huge piece of this puzzle for him. Zan says that if you feel a sudden hurdle coming or you're just suddenly stuck in a really bad spot, you need to do this exact practice for 3 consecutive days, specifically Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. He claims this targeted 3-day burst can completely avert the trouble coming your way. But if you decide to make this a daily habit, reading it every single day, he suggests it brings a sort of continuous ease and divine assistance to all your ongoing daily affairs. So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want you to take a second and really reflect on this framework. We've talked about reading our personal destiny like a meteorologist reads the sky. We've looked at those glaring warning signs of an unsettled and isolated heart, and we've explored the specific spiritual tools designed to clear the clouds. Take a look at the sectors of your own life right now, your career, your health, your relationships. Based on the signs we just went through, where does it feel like a storm is brewing? And more importantly, which sector of your life needs a sudden, positive change in the weather today? Keep that in mind as you navigate the days ahead.